In another big BVU development today, he was supposed to give away dozens of Bristol Motor Speedway race tickets to potential businesses in hopes those companies would relocate to Bristol. Instead, a former mayor and Bristol, Virginia Utilities Board chairman sold those NASCAR tickets to pad his pockets. And not only that, Paul Hurley then lied about it to a federal grand jury. The former mayor and BVU board member pleaded guilty to mail fraud and perjury this morning in federal court as part of the ongoing BVU corruption investigation. Now Hurley is facing the possibility of significant time behind bars. Nate Morabito found out it's all linked back to those BMS race tickets we told you about back in April. Tickets BVU bought under the Wes Rosenbaum administration.
Sarah, remember, those race tickets were supposed to be for economic development. Paul Hurley told us as much back in April when we questioned him about the race tickets, but he couldn't name any specific success stories at the time. It turns out not only did he lie to us about what he did with those tickets, he lied under oath to a federal grand jury. Paul Hurley walked out of federal court Monday guilty of mail fraud and perjury, all connected to his role as a former board member and board chairman of Bristol, Virginia Utilities. Would you like to say anything about your guilty plea?
No, I won't say anything.
It wasn't so much what Hurley didn't say today, it's what he did say 3 months prior in front of a grand jury, a blatant lie. He told grand jurors he couldn't recall if he ever sold any race tickets, tickets he should have been giving away to prospective companies. He's since admitted he sold roughly 50 tickets to friends and scalpers so he could make money, at least $5,000 worth.
He certainly didn't help himself by not being forthright with the grand jury. And again, he was held accountable for that.
Just hours after his guilty plea, his picture still hanging on the walls of BVU, the BVU board met for its monthly meeting. And during that meeting, board members didn't mention a single word about Hurley.
It's another black eye.
But away from the board meeting, whistleblower Doug Fleener had plenty to say.
Am I shocked? No. Did I suspect it? Yes. This is the man that in a BVU meeting, he sat beside me, and he looks at another board member when I was asking questions a couple, 3 years ago, and saying, I told you we shouldn't have put him on this board.
Hurley is a man who spent almost half of his life in public service, most recently as a BVU board member and mayor. Before that, as a teacher and school administrator.
We're talking about a former educator who was supposed to teach our children. We're talking about someone that was mayor of Bristol, Virginia for a long period of time.
Mr. Hurley has forfeited a lot of his goodwill. He's forfeited his integrity. He's forfeited his standing in the community. It's a steep price to pay for a relatively small gain.
The 74-year-old Hurley will likely spend even more time in public buildings in the future. A federal judge will sentence him here in January, and he could face up to 25 years in prison. Nate Morabito, News Channel 11, in your corner.
In addition to prison time, Hurley faces up to a $500,000 fine. He will also have to pay $5,000 in restitution to BVU. In addition, he forfeited an additional $10,000 to the federal government this morning. Well, tonight the Bristol community is reacting to this news, with many saying they are glad Hurley pleaded guilty. You remember he also served as Bristol, Virginia mayor, again, more than 10 years ago. Now some folks are calling that mayorship into question as well.
It makes you wonder what else he did that we didn't know about, just like government, just like with all the things you hear about the presidential races now. What is being done that's behind our back?
We spoke with current Bristol, Virginia Mayor Archie Hubbard over the phone today, asking if he thinks an investigation needs to be conducted. He says no, saying as far as he knows, the mayor does not have access to city money to do something like that. A Churchill man will